Get your spine and nervous system checked. 100%. So, no matter if you want to focus on your vagus nerve, no matter if you've got back pain, no matter if you want to live to your fullest potential, like we were talking about at the very start, is definitely get your spine and nervous system checked. There's lots of symptoms or things that go under the radar that you might not even actually be aware of, and your chiropractor will be able to point out to you. And the other thing about chiropractic that's really, really important is that longevity and almost prevention care. So, keeping things either how they are or if not better, and not letting you go down that downward slope of symptoms, of illness, of injury.
G'day, welcome to the Realms of Power. Today I'm joined by Dr. Cassie, who we're going to do a fantastic episode on her wisdom around the nervous system, chiropractic, and all things about the spine. So, Dr. Cassie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, look, it's a pleasure to be here. And I know you've been a chiropractor now for some time, and we've worked quite closely together, actually. It's been amazing you seeing the changes that you've already created for the clients you've been looking after. But what I'd like to start with is really how you found chiropractic in the first place from your life, because you were originally further down south. So if you'd like to share with the audience where you were brought up and then how you found chiropractic from that.
Yeah, so I'm originally from country Victoria. So I grew up on a farm there, lived there my whole life. And I was a dancer growing up, actually. So I had a lot of kind of injuries and back pain, I guess you could say. And so I tried lots of different things. And eventually my parents took me to see a chiropractor. And she was amazing. I still am very close with her now, and she just changed my life, essentially. I just wanted to be her. She was so inspiring and empowering and just what I needed at that time. And so, yeah, from the age of about 16, I knew exactly that's what I wanted to do. So, yeah, I left my little country town when I was 18, went straight to uni, and yeah, fell in love with it even more then.
Yeah. So tell me about the dancing. What sort of dancing were you involved with? Because there's a lot of young people that do sports, and dancing might be perceived as, oh, you don't get so many injuries in dancing, but it can be pretty taxing on the body. So what sort of dancing were you in? And what sort of injuries did you sort of get repetitively?
Yeah, I mean, dancing is really intense. It's very competitive, and it was lots of hours of training. So originally I was a ballerina, and then I went more into more commercial group style things. So yeah, it was like 40 hours a week at one stage. So very, very intense and taxing on even, yeah, just a child's body. And yeah, me and my brother were both very active growing up. So we were always swimming and playing tennis, and he did football and all the things. So we were both very active and had, just the little niggles and injuries every now and then, rolled ankles, things like that. And over time, as you get older and you're developing, those things can last a bit longer, and then they can develop into more serious injuries. So yeah, I was lucky at 16 to go to a chiropractor and get on top of those things so it didn't develop into something crazy.
So not many parents really take their children to the chiropractor. They might in Australia here more lean towards, say, the physio or just exercise or, put up with it. What inspired your parents to decide, hey, I think she needs something more than that, and maybe look at the alignment of your spine?
Yeah, I mean, my parents they're so funny. They had tried everything else for themselves first. So yeah, my mum had a lot of back pain growing up. I remember going to massage therapists and physio appointments with her, and she was in excruciating pain all the time. And I don't exactly know how they found the chiropractor in the end, but ever since then they still go now. They go weekly, fortnightly, and they both love it. They love their own chiropractors. And yeah, I guess they just thought, okay, well, let's give it a go for me as well. And it was life-changing for our whole family, not just me.
So what was the difference in your performance and your recovery time as a dancer when you were started to get yourself back in alignment?
I remember It was more emotionally for me. I had more confidence in my body. Growing up as a teenager, you have lots of insecurities, and especially as a dancer, it's very competitive. So you're constantly comparing yourself and your abilities to other people. And I just remember, consistently seeing a chiropractor, I had more, yeah, confidence in my body that I could do these intense long hours and recover better. And that emotionally and mentally changed the game for me.
Mm. And dance coaches can sometimes be pretty full on, as can coaches in other realms as well. What did your dance coach notice when they found the difference between when you were getting adjusted and performing better versus prior to that?
I guess for them, obviously, my physical ability increased. So my flexibility was better. Yeah, my jumps were better, my turns were better, even just my concentration in class, because ballet is it's very disciplined. It's, being able to listen and follow instructions. So my actual concentration was better, as well as my energy levels. I think they really noticed that I had more energy and ability in class. Yeah.
Mm. God, that's amazing. And were many of your friends or peers getting adjusted? Because if you were getting that change, was that inspiring others to do the same?
Not necessarily at the time. I think now that I still have amazing friends that I danced with, and now they're stepping into that chiropractic field and they're getting adjusted now. But back then, definitely not. It was kind of a grin and bear it environment. So, yeah, at the time, not really. They kind of relied on other things, but now, really, they enjoy it a lot.
Yeah. And it is hard as kids because, it's not your job as a kid to necessarily inspire others to, go get something that you're getting. You're really just focused on yourself and your performance. But now knowing what you know now, what would your message be to kids who are really keen on performing in their sport, whatever their chosen sport is, whether it's dancing or football or like your brother, what would you say to them now?
I guess, as children and teenagers, your nervous system is still developing. So things that happen, when you're younger do really have an impact for later in life. So those injuries, those falls, those broken bones, even though at the time, you think that you do some rehab and it's fine, it's back to normal, definitely not. That has a long lasting impact on your spine and your nervous system for the rest of your life. So as someone that's developing and growing and still having lots of changes in their lives, it's really important to nourish that and to look after the nervous system that controls so much in your body.
Yeah, I guess the word that's coming up for me there, Cassie, is potential. Because, in realms of power, our goal and vision has been to turn people's power on. But if the earlier you turn that power on, the better for your potential for your time here on the realm. Because if you don't start looking after your spine and nerve system until much later in life, you'll never get back that potential compared to the earlier you start. So would you agree there that, if you had your time over, would you go, oh, the earlier I got adjusted for my potential to turn my power on, the better?
Oh, 100%, 100%. And I even tell my parents now that my future children will be adjusted from the minute that they're born. So, it's not something that I blame them for, and I don't. It's not their fault that they didn't get me adjusted sooner. And I'm very grateful that, I eventually got into chiropractic at 16, and obviously I'm very much in it now. But yeah, if I could talk to them when they were pregnant with me, when they had me, it would be a very different story. But yeah, potential's really, really big.
Yeah. So you then decided after that personal experience that you wanted to follow that path as a career. And as you said, you moved out of your little country town and you went and dived into university learning. What was the experience like of, studying chiropractic and actually learning the philosophy, the art, the science? What was that like for you?
It was crazy. It was a very much a whirlwind of 5 years. And you're right, like, it really was the combination of those 3 things that are so big for chiropractic. I guess the science was the main kind of focus throughout the 5 years, so lots of evidence-based, research and experiments, and, we went right back to basics. We did chemistry and biology and kind of built our knowledge up from there. So it was very much a scientific, clinical, environment, and luckily for me, I found an amazing group of friends at university, an amazing group of mentors that were already in the field. And they kind of helped to nurture more of that philosophy and art aspect of chiropractic. And honestly, that wasn't really until my third or fourth year. So I didn't really realize that this world of chiropractic was even out there. So that was very eye-opening for me and very inspiring. And I mean, 5 years is a long time. So it kind of was that kickstart halfway or just a little bit over halfway to get to the end and have that excitement to get into practice.
Mm. So, yeah, would you agree that a lot of people out in the community still don't even really know the depth of training for chiropractors? That, like, you've literally recently been through that. It's a 5 year sort of double degree or master's degree. And yeah, you've got to understand the anatomy, you've got to understand the neurology, you've got to study radiology because we want to look at the segments of the spine radiologically. And really, for the human body, for it to function at its best, it has to be in alignment. So a lot of people still don't know that. And my recent podcast, I was really focused in on the spine. And here we are talking again about the spine.
Mm.
I think it's such a foundational thing. But yeah, why do you think it is that not many people in the community still really understand the depth of training that chiropractors go through?
I guess it's this false, almost false image that people are presented with of chiropractic. Um, and we are very different from other allied health kind of paths. So, yeah, it's just that kind of biased opinion or even just, yeah, that false image of chiropractic. And, every chiropractor is so different. It's like anyone in the medical field or anyone in any industry, everyone is so, so different. And you could see one chiropractor and have a completely different experience to another one. But I guess in a whole, us chiropractors, we can pretty much all agree that we treat and identify subluxation and focus on the nervous system. So that's, yeah, an amazing kind of whole image and belief to have.
Yeah, great. So now you've graduated, you've come out into the world, and you're just seeing after case of people that don't have their power on. Again, realms of power is turning your power on. And so, what are some of the common things you've seen in your practice so far where people are unaware that the alignment of the spine is affecting their power, not just their physical strength, but their power to heal, their power to restore their own body and trust their own body to heal itself? What sort of things have you seen?
Yeah, that would be one of the biggest things is knowing that your body has the ability to heal itself. So we get a lot of disc cases at this clinic. So we get a lot of people with disc bulges or disc herniations, and they could be, acute, so happening, within the last couple of weeks, or they could be more chronic, so happening over 5+ years. And the common thing that I kind of see with those cases is those people are under the impression that their body actually can't heal itself. And they're given, medications, they're given cortisone shots, referrals for surgery because they just don't believe that it can actually heal itself. So that's really, really big, as well as lots of other injuries, not just discs. But yeah, that I would say that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, so that's the mechanical realm. And then I know one of your passions too, Cassie, is about the autonomic nervous system. And we've of course got the sympathetic nervous system, which is that stress state. The amygdala tightens up and people are in that chronic stress state. And then there's the parasympathetic state, more about the vagus nerve, which I know you're passionate about, and helping people get calm and restore and heal. And turning on the autonomic nervous system by creating alignment, you would have seen already some big changes. Why are you so passionate about seeing things like the vagus nerve functioning better?
I guess for me, it was I saw this constant pattern of the same types of people coming in. So these high achievers that, work over extra hours, they have kids, they have a family, they have a partner, they have a lot going on in their lives, and they just don't stop. They just keep going and going and going. And I kind of found that these people actually thrive in that environment because they're in this chronic state of sympathetic dominance or, in that fight or flight all the time. And so for these people, yes, they have a lot going on, but then because of that, fight or flight stress state, they're getting very interesting symptoms. They're getting injuries that aren't healing or old stuck patterns that aren't shifting. And they're really wondering why. And it's because their body is not and their nervous system is not actually able to switch over into that parasympathetic or that rest and digest state. So, yeah, it's really important for me that I'm able to educate my patients and educate the community on those parts of the nervous system and also the vagus nerve, which is the main parasympathetic nerve in our bodies. So, being able to harness that and use it to our advantage.
Look, a lot of listeners maybe have heard of the vagus nerve now. It's certainly getting more popularity. How would you describe the vagus nerve? I know you did even a recent workshop and you were talking to people about some things to reset the vagus nerve. But for the listeners that don't really know what it is, how would you describe what the vagus nerve actually is anatomically?
Yeah, so the vagus nerve is one of the cranial nerves that goes through our body. So our cranial nerves come out at the very top of our brain stem, and there's 12 of them. Vagus nerve is number 10, lucky number 10. And it's actually the longest one. So it travels a long way through our body. It goes from the very, very top of our neck all the way down pretty much to our pelvic sacral region. And yeah, it has many, many different branches that go to different parts of our body. But essentially, it controls lots of things like the muscles in our throat, in our larynx, in our tongue. It also has branches that go to our heart and our lungs. It also has branches that goes to our intestines and our gut. And it has so many different functions, but it is, like I said, the main parasympathetic nerve in our bodies. So it's able to relay messages from those parts that it's going to back up to the brain and from the brain back down to help those systems go into that rest and digest and to actually function the way that we are meant to function.
Yeah, great. That's a really beautiful description, Cassie. And for people out there, they again have heard of the term regulating their nervous system or creating coherence in their nerve system or calmness and this balance. And I think it's absolutely critical because if our body is either one side or the other side in that nerve system, if there's too much stress or too much the other side, we're out of balance or we're not regulating our nervous system. And there's a lot of practitioners out there that talk about nerve system regulation, whether that's emotional work, whether that's, but there's not as many people would know how important just the straight up alignment of the spine is in regulating the nervous system. Can you speak into that from your perspective?
Definitely. I've seen countless things online, and you're right. Like the vagus nerve is very much a term that's being thrown around a lot recently, a buzzword. But I think the most important thing about regulating your nervous system that not a lot of people would talk about is actually having adaptability in your body and in your nervous system. So, yes, a lot of people are in that sympathetic fight or flight. And yes, we do need to be able to switch over into the rest and digest parasympathetic, but we actually need to have both. So, obviously, not at the same time, but having that adaptability to switch in between both and being able to harness both of those because they're both very important. And having adaptability is really, really important. And the cool thing about the vagus nerve as well, which I didn't mention, is yes, it is a main parasympathetic nerve, but it actually does have one particular branch that helps to harness the sympathetic side of our nervous system and actually keep us alert. So, yes, we need to have that rest and digest, but we don't want to be asleep or, passed out all the time. So, the vagus nerve is really cool to harness because we can actually increase our alertness and our concentration.
Mm. So breaking it down is if your vagus nerve has irritation because of some sort of misalignment, and that might simply be because it does come out of the base of the neck here, the classic one, on your phone too much. Your head's, tilting forward, you're putting pressure on that vagus nerve just through bad posture. By restoring that alignment, you're recalibrating and helping support the vagus nerve function better, which by definition turns your power on. And again, it's one of the most important things I think is our own body's ability to heal itself and function and regulate itself at its best. So, for the people out there that don't know about the vagus nerve, what would your recommendation be in terms of getting that checked?
Get your spine and nervous system checked. 100%. So no matter if you want to focus on your vagus nerve, no matter if you've got back pain, no matter if you want to live to your fullest potential, like we were talking about at the very start, is yeah, definitely get your spine and nervous system checked. There's lots of symptoms or things that go under the radar that you might not even actually be aware of. And your chiropractor will be able to point out to you. And the other thing about chiropractic that's really, really important is that longevity and almost prevention care. So, keeping things either how they are or if not better, and not letting you go down that downward slope of symptoms of illness, of injury.
Absolutely. Yeah, prevention is so much better in health. But again, most people out there really wait until there's a symptom. So, yeah, if you're in that state, definitely go get checked. But if you're just wanting a wellness checkup, it's a lot cheaper, a lot easier, and your potential is the word we're going for here today. You expand your potential and your
Mm.
power if you're in alignment. All right. Well, look, Cassie, have you got like, just think, have you got a random case of someone that you might have actually helped with this? Like, of course, there's so many, but if you can just think of one to share with the listeners, it might give them a reference point of the types of things, maybe just outside the normal back pain thing that you might have helped.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I see a various number of different things day to day, but I guess my most recent kind of amazing thing that I saw was a patient that I've seen. He's 14 years old, so he's more of that pediatric case. So actually similar age to when I saw a chiropractor. And he came in with his mum and had really, really bad vertigo. So dizziness. He actually was really nauseous all the time, not quite getting to the point of vomiting, but that constant nausea and dizziness. And he actually had to stop doing the things that he really liked. So he really loved video games and he was playing sport and he actually just couldn't do them. And his mum, she's a regular patient here, and she kind of had tried everything, they'd spent a lot of money on medications and specialists and imaging, and they couldn't get to the bottom of it. And so, kind of as a last resort, I said to her, bring him in, let's just get him checked, check his nervous system, check his spine. And, we weren't expecting miracles. We weren't expecting, we're just going to see how it went. And after 2 adjustments, really focusing on that, kind of upper neck, upper cervical area, where a lot of the inner ear and vertigo things happen. After 2 adjustments, he reported that he had no dizziness, no nausea, and he was actually back doing the things that he really liked. So yeah, it was amazing, and he's so happy just to come in now, he just loves it here, and we have really good chats. And it was just amazing to see for him and his family and his potential now moving forward, that he can do the things that he likes and he can go back to school. And yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, well, vertigo just displaces your whole world because for anyone that's ever suffered with it, you feel like you're just not in your body, out of balance. The room spins, you spin. You actually just aren't stable. So, for a young kid, especially, or for anyone, but for a young kid, especially, just when you again you said that word potential, like I think of someone who never would have got that check, never would have given chiropractic a go, and how much that could have limited his developing years, concentration, the flow and effects of that for that young child's life. it can change a whole life if your body feels displaced. So what an amazing change for that kid. And look, as you and I know, that doesn't mean that all people with vertigo are going to get an improvement in 2 visits. Some people it's longer, some people there might be other factors, but for that kid, you can't take away that for him, that was an amazing change. And I just really acknowledge you for sharing that, because that might inspire someone with that condition. But if we expand that out and look at, it's not about the condition, it's about being in alignment is just better. And why
Yeah.
wouldn't you want that? Like,
Yeah.
what message would you say to, yeah, parents that have tried all of the things and have waited for chiropractic for the last resort, having had your experience growing up and then seeing that kid? What would you share?
I guess the message that I really want to get across, and it's almost a bit of a hard pill for people to swallow, is that chiropractic, we're not miracle workers. We don't have magic hands. It's not a one size fits all. But essentially, what we do is we harness the body's ability to heal itself. So I'm not saying that I fixed this kid's vertigo and that I've fixed your back pain and I've, done this one magical adjustment and that's it for you. Not at all. Yeah, what I want to get across is that what we do as chiropractors is we help get your body back in alignment, get your spine back in alignment, get your nervous system back in alignment so that your body can actually do the functions that it needs to do at its highest potential and heal itself. So, yeah, I did that with this wonderful kid. I helped get his body back in alignment, helped get his upper neck back in alignment. So the nerves going to his ears were not causing him vertigo anymore. And his body could heal itself.
Geez, for the listeners, I hope you can really get a sense of the authenticity and the humbleness that Cassie just showed as a healer. Because there is a lot of healers out there that do have ego, that sort of claim that they've fixed or that their technique's better. And look, I know that that happens in chiropractic as well, but you're just a amazing, humble human to be able to share that message. And I hope for any practitioners that listen to this, you can hear Cassie's message of resonance of the body heals itself, and we're just here to help support them do that, because everyone's on their own journey, everyone's unique. And yeah, Cassie, that just really made me feel just proud of what you're doing, and it's an honor to know you. So to wrap up this episode, have you got any like sort of final wisdom? You've shared so much already in this episode, but is there any final wisdom you'd like to share with the listeners? And it could be about chiropractic, it could be about anything, it could be about go dancing or do something you love doing. I don't mind what it is, but I love hearing from youthful wisdom as well. So whether you're been around for a long time and you think, oh, this person's so experienced, or you've got youthful wisdom, there's always a message everyone can hear. So yeah, what wisdom would you like to share for our listeners in the realms of power?
I guess from me, my life's quote or my life's message that I've committed myself to is that purpose fuels passion. So if you know me, I write it on everything. I've got it tattooed. It's on my computer. So if you know me, you'll see it everywhere, just as a reminder. But that was something that I saw probably actually when I was about 16 and I started getting chiropractic care, funnily enough. And it just really resonated with me. And it's just something that I think is really universal and some things that people can really, take from. So purpose really does fuel passion. And if you don't have purpose in your life, then you don't have passion and you're not, happy and you're not living to your fullest potential. So really, I think looking for that purpose and following your intuition as well, which is really big and hard for people. So yeah, that's it from me.
Well, our realms of power, Power Wheel has life purpose as one of our whole realms, and you've just nailed it, because we haven't really talked about passion so much up to now with any of our guests so far. But the way you just made that so simple, and that you've literally got it tattooed on your back, purpose leads to passion. That is just such beautiful wisdom. So, look, Dr. Cassie, thank you so much for coming on the show. And for anyone local here on the Sunshine Coast, which is your clinic? I know the clinic really well. Which is your clinic? Where could they find you if they were looking up from this episode and they said, "Oh my God, I'm in the Sunshine Coast. I could resonate with Cassie." Where is it?
So I'm at Link Chiropractic in Curramundi. So we're on Nichollen Way. Yeah, it's myself and Tony. And yeah, we'd love to support you in any way. And sometimes, the adjustment isn't actually the physical mechanical adjustment. Sometimes it's just coming in and being heard and being listened to. So we'd love to see you and help you in any way that we can.
And I know just recently, I'll tack on to that, you recently did a sleep workshop. So you also have the confidence as a young woman to deliver a very powerful workshop. And I know the feedback from that workshop was brilliant. So yeah, jump online as well and see when Dr. Cassie's got her next workshop, whether it's about the spine, about the vagus nerve. I think that's your next one coming up.
Yes,
Because
4th of August, I think it is.
yeah, 4th of August. And you just light people up with your passion there. So you're doing an amazing job for the world. So really appreciate you. And thanks for your time coming on today.
Thanks to you. Thank you very much.
Awesome. And for our listeners, once again, thanks for tuning in to the Realms of Power. We also have our Turn Your Power On workshop here at the clinic as well at Link Chiropractic. And we'll be doing some online workshops of how to really help you get the most out of your own body and in any of the realms. So if you are wanting to turn your power on, be more authentic, do more of what you love doing, have more freedom, and never really need to work again, this is the workshop for you. So, yeah, thanks again to our listeners for tuning in. Have an awesome day. See ya.